And it is quite, there's this kind of like Islamic spirit that sometimes can be caught up with Christians just because that's what they believe. They believe that he is a prophet, or he's more than that, you know, he is more than that. So also this thing about the head covering as well, if you actually go to that scripture in Corinthians that speaks about the head covering, I used to cover my head like very proudly. I didn't care what people thought, because if I am convicted about something and if I'm fully convinced, I don't care what anyone has to say. Like, people mock, people would laugh and whatever, but I don't care. That's my conviction. But I prayed because someone brought it to my attention that I was wrong. And then I said, okay, do you know what? I took it to God in prayer and I said, please show me if what I'm doing is right, because I'm really hungry for sound doctrine. And he did. And all you need to do is go to 1 Corinthians 11 and let's go to verse 3. But I want you to know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. So we can see here that the context is talking about spiritual leadership, headship in marriage. So that context, that word head in the Greek is referring to spiritual leadership. It's referring to headship in marriage. So it's not talking about cloth. And sometimes the Bible has been translated really well, but sometimes it's kind of done a disservice because a lot of the original wording, and you know, one word in Greek can mean like 3-4 different things. So sometimes there can be confusion on the context. And I don't want you to be feeling some way, because if you're going to a church that believes in that, it's very important for you to submit to your leaders if that's what they believe in. And if you're convinced that you're in the right place, then it's respectful to submit to what they've called you to do. But I just want to say this because like there's this Islamic thing that's going around. There's a spirit where, you know, certain things, like you're believing that Jesus is not God and you're believing that you have to cover your head, and it's pretty much what Muslims believe in almost. So we need to be fully convinced in our beliefs, and we need to know why we believe what we believe in, and we need to be ready to defend our faith. Apologetics is the defense of the faith. So we need to be ready. We need to study to show ourselves approved. We are in the last days, so this is not a heaven or hell thing. Like when it comes to the head covering, it's not like a salvation issue, but I think that it's just so important. Like it will just magnify our worship if we know who we are worshiping and why we worship him. So in the whole context of this video, this is nothing to be emotional about. This is nothing to be upset about. This is nothing like to shame. I'm not shaming anyone. I'm just speaking the truth in love as led by the Lord. And I hope that you will take away this quick introduction and go and study and pray about it, because one thing about me is that when I am corrected, like when someone brings something to my attention, I won't completely write it off. I will need to go back to God. It's my responsibility, because I don't believe in coincidences. So there's a reason why, and there's a learning point. Even if the person is wrong, there is something to be learned about what they've said. Maybe if they're weak on that, we can strengthen our faith on something they've said, so that when it's time to teach, we are able to teach with authority and truth. So it's just so important. And